Hey everyone, welcome back to Nutrition Made Simple, a series that we created that takes a look at ideas surrounding natural health topics, and then we break them down into easy to understand and actionable steps. My name is Brian Strickland. Here with me again is Ed Jones. He's the owner and founder of Nutrition World. And today's video, we really just want to continue kind of the train that we've been on for the month of January, taking a look at some ideas that maybe are New Year's resolution oriented. But one of the specific items that we wanted to talk about today was macronutrients. This is a term that gets thrown around a lot. It's probably likely that you have some working knowledge of what macronutrients are and what they do in the body. But we really wanted to take a little bit of a detailed look at them. We wanted to speak about what they do in the body and why it's so important, the roles that they play. And then lastly, the ratio of macronutrients that you may need to look at to perform your best. And that can be a very individual thing, and we're going to talk about that later. But to start us off, Ed, just at the very most basic, what are macronutrients?
Well, first off, they're life-saving to understand this concept, but macro means bigger. Micro means smaller. Well, we're not talking about vitamins and minerals here, right, Brian. We're talking about food categories of protein, fat, carbs, and small amount of fiber. And, of course, the proteins from foods like fish, chicken, beef, eggs, some vegetarian foods, of course, tofu, some combining of foods. Then you've got the fat. We all know what that is. Mm-hmm. And fat's extremely healthy, but only if you choose the healthy fats. And then you've got the carbohydrates. That is the demon that has kind of ruined many of our health of many generations. And then you've got fiber. So I have seen so many people destroy their health by not understanding the proper ratios. I've seen people excel to optimal levels that didn't even eat that healthy, but they knew the macros were correct. And we'll get into why that is. And it's not a hard concept. I'm going to explain it very simply, where we can start thinking differently about our food choices, whether we're eating out, eating at home, or shopping at the store.
So I think where we need to go from here is what role each of those categories play in the body. Obviously, these are nutrients that can't be produced by the body. We have to take them in through food. It's what's called an essential nutrient. So they have to be either taken in by food or supplements. So let's just start with protein. That seems as good a place as any. What is it that protein is doing in the body when it breaks down, and why is it important?
Well, and also the ratio is the key to all this, which we'll get to. But protein itself, of course, is the building block of our whole structure. I mean, the amino acids come from a breakdown of protein. What do? 500 different ideas of what they do, because from fueling the brain to making neurotransmitters to producing muscle tissue to allowing us to have strength. Protein deficiency as we age is highly detrimental to our health. There's no doubt. And it comes from many protein foods, protein supplements, some vegetarian foods. But again, the people who don't know how to combine it properly with the other components is where we get into trouble.
And what about fats? I mean, obviously there are different types of fats, and we need to focus on the healthier fats rather than the unhealthy, obviously. But what is their purpose in the body? How are they beneficial?
Well, fats produce lipids. Lipids produce membranes of your cells are actually made of fats. About one half of your brain is fat completely. When we're deficient in fats, we lose a tremendous amount of sometimes flexibility. We basically get hardened up. We have higher triglycerides if we don't eat the right fats. We have much unhealthier bodies. And I see people from the years of people who believed in the low-fat craze, and it really destroyed a lot of health in this nation. And it was very sad because it was fueled more by need for profit than it was from even science. And now we know better, and that's why we're hopefully educating people to rearrange these macros to include healthy fat. Of course, healthy fat, there's a modest list. It's not a big one. Olive oil, if it's good companies, and I think organic butter, coconut oil, grapeseed oil if it's produced right, several oils can be made if it's produced right, like avocado, which we have to be very cautious because many companies are not doing it correctly. But I use a lot of MCT oil, which burns body fat and helps the brain function. But it's, again, the key to this, which we'll get to, is how much do we use when we combine it with the other two food components. That's the key to excelling in health.
Yeah. And last on the list is carbohydrates. It's the most readily available energy source of the three, obviously, but it's not without some harmful, some harmful things to it as well when it's done in excess. So what is it about carbs that is beneficial and what is it that is detrimental?
Well, of course, carbs are the quickest source of energy that our bodies can consume. It is fuel. I mean, we all know runners who, gorge on spaghetti before the day before because we need a lot of carbohydrates to do a lot of exercise. The issue is we don't need anywhere near as much as we think we do. The reason we eat so much, you said it, it's readily available, it's inexpensive, we're addicted to it, it tastes great, it's found everywhere. But again, some of this is fine if it's in the right ratios, which we're going to talk about, but it has devastated this country as far as their optimal health. There's no way you can be super healthy if you're over-consuming out of the ratio we're going to talk about of these macros.
All right. So with that being said, and we've hit on this a little bit, so I mean, the really important part about macronutrients is that ratio. So is that why they're so important? I mean, because your body is obviously needing that nutrients, but you have to find the right amounts.
Well, each of those macros has a purpose, as we've talked about, but when you overburden the body with too many carbs, it negates the purpose of all the macros. And what happens is, and I say this so often every single day, when you start your day in the morning with perfect macros, and I'm going to talk about what is that in a second, you're setting yourself up for success. Success how? Success with blood chemistry. Because I see so much blood chemistry of people who have not been following that plan. I see the devastation of what it does to their inflammatory factors, to their nutritional content, to all of the things that cause faster aging comes with not knowing these macro percentages correctly. And when we put it together properly, it's very easy. One, you do have to think a little bit, but once you get a month under your belt, you don't even think about it. It becomes natural to me. And so if you want optimal energy, you want to think better, you want to lose weight better, you're going to have to think a little bit less about the nutritional content of foods and more about the macros first, the nutritional content second, and then the cleanliness third. Cleanliness means in a perfect world, I'd want to eat everything organic. Nothing has Roundup in it. It's not a perfect world. We're out and have to eat out and we have to do this. But I can do macros perfect. I don't care where we are, you can make the right macros work. You make the right macros work, you're making the right blood chemistry ideal. You make the right blood chemistry ideal, you're going to probably live longer, feel better, look better, have less body fat, and think better.
Okay. So let's jump into probably what people are most interested in, and that's those ratios. And from what I've seen, conventional wisdom has kind of dictated that you want carbs first, and then moderate fats and moderate proteins. But I'm going to go ahead and jump out on a limb here and say that that's probably not something that you agree with.
No, I mean, that's the old kind of USDA plan, which devastated the health of millions. And so many people, including me, would look at a food for the past many decades and say, because it's organic and because it's nutritious, this is healthy for me. Nothing is healthier than foods that produce optimal blood chemistry. I don't care how pure it is and how nutritionally replete it is. That is way secondary compared to what it does to your chemistry if it's not in the right macros. And that's, again, I can go to McDonald's and I could eat a meal there that has the right macros.
Yeah.
First off, this is what I've learned through 40 plus years is I like doing a type of macros Monday through Friday and a little different one on weekends. I've learned so much that we need to cycle things. I take off one day a week of vitamins. I do different things in the gym. We have to keep shocking the body in certain ways or it gets so use to the plan that we get no benefit from it. It's actually called hormesis, which is testing the body with things that kind of surprise it. And that's what we do with this, or I do, and I recommend. So Monday through Friday, this is what I do. Try to limit to about 60 carbs. How do we know how many carbs are in something? There's an app called Chronometer, and you download it. It's an easy app. But here's visually how I do it. I kind of, now that I know carbs pretty well, I don't have to think too much. But if I have this much protein on a plate, I'm going to have this much fat on a plate, and I'm going to have a little bit less than a fist of carbohydrates, better chosen carbohydrates, not French fries, not mashed potatoes, things that are slower digesting, the plant-based foods, the colored foods, anything that would be slower digesting. And so this is my protein content, this is my fat, which is about equal. And then I have a little bit less than that of carbs Monday through Friday. On weekends, guess what I do? Saturday and Sunday, I actually have bigger amount of carbs. I might have 1.5 fists and maybe even 2, because that's what's important to cycle through this. Yeah. So when you sit down, I go to Jason's, went there today, Brian. What did I get? I got a serving of turkey. It's great over there. It's organic. So it's about the size, a little bit smaller than my fist. Then I got avocados, about half of a fist. So how did I make up the rest? Salad bar. I poured a lot of olive oil on there because they have quality olive oil. And so that made up the fat to be equal. And then the carbs was everything on a salad, because I'm in the Monday through Friday schedule. It works out great every single day. And secondly, it's starting the day with the proper macros. I've almost given up. So years ago, I decided I've got to start drinking the macros, and that's what I do with a keto drink. Ketosis is where you burn body fat for fuel, and it makes your brain work well. Well, in the drink, we just add some greens powder and some hemp, and put it in water. It is the key to starting the day correctly, and you don't have to think about it. So there's one meal out of the way. All I got to do is eat lunch and supper, and then a snack. There's plenty of keto snacks you can do at 2 o'clock. So really, we've got it narrowed down to 2 meals. It's not hard. And I carry olive oil with me in my restaurants, this little bottle, so I can have fresh olive oil on foods at restaurants that don't have quality olive oil.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that sounds like a fairly easy to follow plan. And
yes.
There you go, guys. We hope that was helpful. Of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, comment here, and please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you'll get notifications that more content just like this is coming your way. Thank you so much for watching this week, everyone. We hope that you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.